The main issue that I see in pastoral ministry is our mistake of making humans the center of worship and the desires of God to save. And the issue becomes we're so important that God needs us for whatever, to do something for the city, to do something for the world or the like. And we make ourselves that much greater and God and his desire for us that much greater versus who God actually is. And that's where I see that we as pastors, we can make a big mistake and lead people in the wrong way about who the Lord actually is. See, when you read and I would recommend you do this, when you read, let's say, I think it's Job chapter 38, 39, 40, 39, 40. I think it might be 41 as well. You read the full chapter of Isaiah chapter 40 from the devotion from today. And I'm trying to think of another place you can go to. Even Proverbs chapter 8. My recommendation for you is just to understand the power of who God is versus what our human understanding might be to try to compartmentalize the Lord. Because when we compartmentalize God, what we do is we eliminate all of the unbound characteristics of the Lord, and we place things onto the Lord that do not belong to God. So like, for instance, and I'll give you like a big one that secularists use, it's the idea that God doesn't need my worship. God shouldn't be so egotistical, or God shouldn't be so needy that he needs me to worship him. He should just be okay without it. And I've heard actually people who are friends of mine or people who I've known for a while actually make this argument. And their whole idea is, in their human understanding about what God should be, like they should all over God. God should do this, God should do that, God should be this, God should be that. There shouldn't be whatever. What they're doing is they're placing themselves in the position of author, finisher of the world, of creation, of all things in the universe. And they stand in judgment of the Lord. They may not know they're doing that, but they're actually standing in judgment of the Lord. And they're saying to the world and to God, I don't need you, you need me. You need my understanding, you need my knowledge, you need my whatever. And you need to do for me what I believe I need, versus I need to become what you designed me to be so that I fulfill my role in all of eternity. So that like the whole piece is missed, that the person actually was created for God, not the person created God for themselves. It's not this human construct that the secularists used. And so when you see this devotion today, you can either look at it for what it truly is, or you can twist it to be what you want it to be. Like what people say who don't know the Bible, what does that mean to you? That would be the first words. What does that mean to you? And these are secularists trying to impose upon the Bible their understanding, which is false. Well, this is what, when you read this, is it difficult to see? Why are we not stressing this in our evangelical circles? And what is it that we're not stressing? We're not stressing. We must be concerned with the person and character of God, not the promises. And we always go to promises because they're the easiest for us to understand, for us to conceptualize. What is difficult for us to conceptualize is the truth of God's holiness, is the truth of God's character, is the truth of God's existence. That's what's hard for us. Hebrews 11 verse 6, to even understand that who we are as individuals, we have to understand that God actually exists. And that's what's terrifying for people who don't want God to exist. They just don't. And that's the sin within us. So when you read this devotion, know that it is very easy to do a series on God's promises, a series on the things that God has done for people and for getting us out of this situation or through this situation or whatever. But it's more difficult for us to conceptualize and to understand the truth, the depth, the breadth, the bounty, the humongous, I was going to use a word here, humongousness of God, because that's too scary. And it's much easier to just say, well, God's there and he's there to help me. And I say my prayer before I get onto an airplane, or I get into traffic and I do a Hail Mary or whatever, or I, before I do something bad, I say, God, please bless me here or watch over my back there. And we make God our servant. God's not our servant. And we have to, for us to really come into a balanced understanding of the Lord, we have to remove the scale that we use, the scale of my human understanding to who I want God to be. My human understanding is never going to be right with the Lord. And who I want God to be will never be, will diminish who God actually is. So we have to eliminate the scale, period. And then move into, I just need to know the scale of who I'm not, who God is, okay? Who I'm not will always be, it just will be infinitely diminished by who God actually is, okay? Hope that helps you this morning. If you have any questions, please hit me up. But I just want to make sure I communicated that with you today. God's not my genie, nor is he yours.